Hello everyone, Krydax here, and welcome back to our RP-1 playthrough. I'm still having so much fun, I can't even describe it. We are 2 years into our early satellite program, and we have just the atmospheric analysis left. And just like last time, I've decided kind of doing some work off camera is helpful for just the length of these episodes, so I'm not just simulating for an hour straight. So I have actually kind of got craft ready for both of these. Neither of them are that interesting compared to what we already did. The Fire Ant 3 is pretty much kind of perfect. So I kid, it's not perfect. But I have set up the folders here, by the way. And we've got the Fire Ant 4, which is for the atmospheric analysis. And the difference about this one, we are meaning to launch it into a sunrise, and this one has the mass spectrometer? Magnetometer. It's got, you know, all the experiments just so we can get all the science, and then mass spectrometry, temperature, pressure, and telemetry. So I think it's got every single science experiment that we have unlocked, right? Yes, yes. Yes, and telemetry. Those are all internal. And then it's got this one, this one, this one, and that one. And these are all physical samples that we'd have to return. So yeah, so we've got literally everything. And that's going to be great. And we're going to fulfill our capstone contract with that. This one right here. And we'll simulate it right now just to make sure before we start building it. And then we've got the Sun Synchronous Orbital Satellite, which is a little different because it has to be at a really high angle. It's actually even slightly retrograde. And it has to be a pretty circular orbit. So I had to mess with PVG for a while because it wasn't working right for me until somebody on the Discord helped me out. And I actually have it open right now. What was their name? It was... Kuzinator was really helpful in helping me understand that the early shutoff stage doesn't have to be the last stage. And so we can set the early shutoff stage to be this one, which is still a guided stage, and then it does a better job at pointing in the right direction for the final delta V of the unguided stages. So it actually, I was struggling until we figured that out. But yeah, everything else seems good with this, so we're gonna test it out real quick just to make sure everything is good. We want to stage the fairings automatically. We've got the spin motors and the aerobies, yada yada yada. That's all good to go. So we shall simulate. I don't need to simulate part failures because if they fail, they fail. I don't really have any control over that. And I don't think it's worth rebuilding this rocket to be less failure prone. I mean, I'd have to completely change it. So for this, we need our periapsis. So what we're going to do is we're not going to do an early shutoff stage, and we just want our burnout to be at about, I think 320 is just about right, actually, and we'll just do current orbit. And then we need unguided stages to be 0,2, and I don't think we need anything else, and let's just see how this goes. By the way, I did a lot of testing yesterday. This setting right here makes a massive difference the more and more launches you do. I put like 30 radial decouplers on this. I did a couple launches, and I was going, like when I would launch the rocket and then hit the decoupler button, so there were like 40 little solid rocket boosters that were detached from me. When I went from preferred GPU to disabled, it would go from about 8 FPS up to 100. So that was a massive difference. I had VSync on at one point, but now we don't. So anyway, that's all kind of technically stuff. But if you're having lag issues, I would recommend trying this as well because it might fix lag for you. Or it might not. I don't know. I don't know exactly what was causing it in the first place. So, all right, let's test this bad boy and see if it works. See if it works, and we'll also make sure we can do the scans properly, but I think we're fine on that. I'm just gonna fast forward the whole thing. It should be accurate enough. The spin stabilized part, I might slow it down just to get that physical correct. And then I'll speed it up again. And then it gets crazy. I don't know how to stop that. Even holding right click, it still takes control of the camera. Okay, so we are in orbit. The parameters are achieved even with all the extra weight that we brought. And we need pressure scan and temperature scan. You go into the info and you can hit forced run on those. And then if we were to, you know, time warp here. How's our power doing, by the way? We are power positive. Or at least ish. Okay, so that completed the contract. Can I stop these? There we go. Yeah, there you go. So program complete. Simulated program, that is. So that one is good to go. We'll go ahead and revert to VAB and construct this bad boy. Fire Ant 4 shall complete the program, but we're also going to do Fire Ant 5, which will get us yet another contract finished for more money. Money, 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 and some confidence. Not that I had a lot of confidence with this satellite program. Boy, it was difficult. Boy, was it difficult. All right, so we want to launch into the Light Satellites LC. And we need the magnetometer boom. Perfect. And then we shall get to our launch. And we've got orbital rocketry getting researched. I should probably queue up something else. What's next? 58 orbital rocketry could get us even more stuff. Baby Sergeant increased performance. Oh, we've got a new avionics upgrade. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot about this. Okay, for the Fire Ant 5, we need to install that. I don't know which one to do, to be honest. Early flight control could be good. Maybe? Upgrade RCS thrusters and engines. I'm not too worried about life support just yet. At some point, we need to make planes. There's so much to do. But for now, I'll just queue up some solid rocket engines because we're going to need them eventually, right? Okay. And we got 70 days till the Fire Ant 4. I feel like I have a lot of money. Interesting. I could hire more researchers. What's the worst thing that can happen? If I hire 50 more. Perfect. No, 60 more. Because now we're at a nice 500 researchers. And our funds, we're still at positive 100 here. And we've got more subsidy that we can gain. There's quite a bit more subsidy we can gain, actually. So, that's good. All right, we're going to go ahead and warp to complete here. Can I do that from this menu? Looks like you can. It's nicer on the eyes to do it this way, that's for sure. Alright, warp to complete that. Roll it out. Warp to complete that. Ooh. Micrometeorite data finished. Okay, so this is gonna... Ooh, we're up to 25 science now. Beautiful. Okay, this one does need a sunrise. So go ahead and warp to sunrise. That's just perfect. Okay, here we go. Fire Ant 4. Launch conditions. Everything should go smoothly, assuming we don't have an engine failure. Which is the real kicker, isn't it? Because I can do nothing to control that. You know what? I should add the Ascent guidance button to this, so then I don't have to constantly click it. So what happened to my Ascent stats? Oh, they're over here. Okay. All right, so we want... What do we want? Unguided stages, 0,2. We want boosters, all good to go. No early shutoff stage, burnout altitude 320, orbit, current, all good to go. Engage autopilot, and we'll have liftoff in 3, 2, 1. Ignition is successful, and we are away. Beautiful. Now let's see if this rocket can go the distance. Did we launch a new vessel? We did. Okay. Just making sure. Let's see, what's our mean time between failures? We're up to 8.7 minutes at this point, so... definitely got a chance to fail. Non-zero chance. Some nice screenshots here. Alright. The big failure points are the end of the burn on this engine, because we are overburning a smidge here. Oh. But MTBF isn't going down. Interesting. That one's okay with being overburned a little bit. Auto jettison the fairings. Get the Scud missile going. And we are overburning this one a little bit too, but I mean the mean time between failures is huge, so this one's really consistent. So a little bit of overburn is pretty much irrelevant. Alright, I'm gonna hyperwarp a smidge here, because this is kind of boring. Boring time. I'll slow it down again right here. Get a nice screenshot. Spin stage is successful. We got ignition on both engines. So now the only thing that can fail is, sorry, that's very loud. The only thing that can fail is our ignition here, which is 2%. Come on, baby. Give me a success. Success. There we go. Yes! And we're away! And now, I guess there's still technically a chance of failure. 1 in 20. A little less than 1 in 20, but we've had worse. We've had worse. Looks like we're just about there. Ta-da! All right, so now we need to deploy all of our experiments. That one's already going. That one's not going because it has to extend. And then what else? We need this one. That one's going. That one's going. And then we need pressure and temperature to be forced run. And that gives us still full electricity. Nice. Okay. So now what? I warp until these are done. Oh, I'm on slow motion still. Warp here a bit. Ooh, I should get a little screenshot of this. This is cool. I never know like what angle to get a screenshot at. You know, do you put the sun in the picture? Or do you put the planet in the picture where you've got the lit side of the ship? Never know. That seems like a good screenshot. Okay, so I should be able to just fast forward 100 here and we'll see contract done any moment. There we go. I can turn those off now if we want. Stopped. It's still saying forced run though. But here it just says waiting. It's like that's not updating. Okay. All right, 30 seconds. Ta-da! We did it. Contract complete. Program complete. Beautiful. Beautimus. Fire Ant 4 is a success. You love to see it. PSN connected. Yeah, this whole connection thing is going to be a problem at some point. Full Space Center. What's the main one? There's some big ones. I'm actually used to my own campaign playthroughs. I will often only have the Kerbal Space Center and none of the other places to connect to. So I have to make my own network that's always connected to the Space Center. So like I'll often make like a trio of satellites that are all spaced out, you know, 120 degrees from each other so that one of them is always connected to the Kerbal Space Center and then everything goes through those three. Granted, the ComNet version never had like a bit rate, you know, restriction, so this is going to be a little bit trickier in RP1 because of that. But the other mechanics of like, you know, having to calculate the distance between probes and stuff was similar. Okay, sweet. Well, we've finished the Light Satellites program, and before we check it off the list, because we could, I think what I want to do is the sun synchronous optional one. So we'll do that one and get another 76 reputation. By the way, I did some math on the money. I think I've said this before in previous episodes and you guys probably were like, what is he talking about? Because I didn't say it very well. But basically, the math of exponential decay, and it is exponential decay, right? It's 15% per year. is what you're losing. So at the end of the year, you'll have lost 15%. At the start of the year, you'll have lost nothing. So you can kind of average that out to being 7.5% less money per year than it looks like you're going to get. I know technically that's not correct because it decays a little bit faster at the start and slower at the end. So I'm slightly overestimating with this math, but it's close enough for a ballpark. And we also noticed that each reputation provides 100 funds per year. So I did the math, and it turns out that if you go out to infinity years, each reputation will provide you with a total of like $614. Basically, before it's decayed into nothingness, right? However, by the time you get to 10 years, it's only given you about $500. And at 5 years, I think it's like $350 or something. So when you're thinking about, is this mission worth it? If the only reason you're flying it is for reputation and you don't have your reputation maxed, you can kind of do the math. What's 76 times 500, you know? And basically I just add 3 zeros and divide by 2. So that's 76 grand, which is really like 38 grand. So in the next 10 years, if I do this, it will give me 38 grand worth of subsidy. Which means if the rocket's cheaper than 38 grand, then it's certainly worth it, because I also get confidence, I also get another satellite in orbit that might give me some science. It, you know, it gives me more efficiency at that launch complex. So like, all in all, you know, if it's just a question of, is the launch vehicle worth the money? That's a way that you can kind of measure it. For those who were curious, because I certainly was. So I've already designed our next one, which is the Sun Synchronous Fire Ant 5. The difference here, you'll notice it has a bit more delta V. I did change the stages slightly. I think I gave this one a tiny bit more fuel. Yeah, you can see it's 1.43. And I think I gave this guy a bit more length. So that's why there's a bit of a tooling cost to this. But you'll notice... Wait, why is the unlock credit... Oh, that scared me. I saw unlock credit, and I read that as unlock cost, and I was like, what the heck? There's two things different about this guy. One, I took off most of the experiments, except the television camera, because this is a polar satellite, roughly, and I'm thinking that there is a biome at the poles that we did not get data from. So I do have the television camera. I took out all the other experiments, except barometer and thermometer, though I should take those out as well, because those are space low. They're not biome dependent. So we can save ourselves another 200 grams, which takes us 10,664 to 10,666 to 10,669, an extra 5 delta V. Look at that. Anyway, you'll also notice the panels are on the back. Number one, I don't even think this really needs panels. It literally doesn't, it's not part of the requirement. So I could just take the panels off, but I want the camera to be able to run, so that's why I did it. I'm also just realizing I can upgrade the avionics to early avionics, which only costs 4 grand. And oh my gosh, look at the delta V boost for that. It goes from 4.5 kilograms and 25 watts to... Oh, 4.5 kilograms is how much the charge weighs. But 150 milliwatts compared to 25 watts. That's an insane boost. It basically takes no power now to run Science Core avionics. And the overall avionics weight is, where does it show it? Right here. Avionics mass is 17 kilograms. And is that just the mass of all Science Core avionics? Yeah, they're just straight up 17. Like, there's no, it doesn't matter how big it is. It's 17 plus your experiments plus your battery, you know. So this just straight up subtracts 13 kilograms from our final vessel, which is huge. That's huge. Oh, I love it. Okay, so I will switch, by the way, and we'll go ahead and unlock that. And we'll stick with 1,000 reserved dimensions. Okay, so that gets us even some more delta V, so now we're very much safe. And I don't need to worry about the power very much, because the only power is going to be the film camera, which takes how much? Film camera takes... Sorry, television camera. Takes 5 watts only. And the, you know, the probe core, or whatever it's called, avionics was taking 25 before, now it's taking 1/6. That's 150 times less power. I love it. Anyway, let's make sure the staging's right. You know what I can even do is reduce this back down to 1.4, because we're not going to need those couple delta V's. We've more than made up for that. And all the other stages seem correct. So we'll save this into the light satellite program. We will simulate it, because that's what we do here. Always got to simulate to make sure the contract completes. And then here's where I was getting kind of screwed up, and I had to test it like maybe a dozen times or more. So what we'll do, in this case, you'll notice we need the eccentricity to be below 0.04. So we can't just do a full burn at a burnout altitude. So we do need the early shutoff stage. And what I had been doing, because we need periapsis above 300 kilometers, I had been doing like 330 and 330. And I was like, okay, I hope this works. And for whatever reason, it kept screwing it up a little bit. Like, it would get me into an orbit that was maybe like 400 kilometers and 290 or something like that. And it kept being just a bit wrong. And I couldn't figure it out. And someone told me, again, Kuzinator or whatever his name was like, oh, set your early shutoff stage to be the guided one, which is stage, is it 4? Yeah, stage 4 here. And so when you change that to 4, and you'll notice it changes this to optimize here instead of it was at, you know, the top one, then it's going to it's actually not going to use all the delta V on that stage. And it will plan to use 100% of the delta V in these unguided stages. And that works a lot better. So just make sure you set it to the last guided stage, and then your unguided stages end up working a lot better. Orbital inclination, I'm going to do 97 because that's halfway between 95 and 99. That makes it pretty likely the couple times I've done it, it hasn't been exactly right. Like, it was 97.17, you know, but it's within a degree of what you type. So that should work fine. And all these other settings are good to go. So I think once we turn off this stupid setting, by the way, I can't remember if I mentioned this in the last episode or not. You can't even change this in the CFG files. There's a place where it looks like you could, and it even tells you like if you can type prefer GPU, CPU, or disabled. And I changed, and it says none would change it to disabled. And I typed that in, I saved the file, you know, while KSP was closed, started up KSP, and this still defaults to prefer GPU on every launch. So it's really annoying that I have to do that every time. I don't know why it's tanking my FPS. I made a whole GitHub report on it. We'll see if anything comes of it, but I think my launch is good to go now. So 3, 2, 1, and lift off. Or not. Hey, I never hit engage autopilot. Funny. we typed in all the stuff, but I didn't actually hit the autopilot button. We need a checklist on this page. Now there's so many things to do. Gotta turn off that. Those settings are still correct. 97. Alright. Okay. So that should work. And let's go ahead and launch. See if our simulation is effective here. I'm gonna speed it up quite a bit because it's just a simulation. If it works when it's on hyperwarp, it'll work when it's not on hyperwarp, usually. You can see we're in this polar direction. Also worth noting, we do need to time our launch so that we're launching around noon. so that the sun, right, because the sun is to the south when you're in the northern hemisphere at least, and so we want the sun to be the southmost compared to the angle we're at. So we basically want to launch at noon. And since we're facing to the north, that will have these rear-facing solar panels pointed as much towards the sun as they can be. And there we go. What's confusing to me is that we had 4 as the early shutoff stage, but it didn't shut off early, did it? So that's a little confusing. But last time I did this, it did work properly. The final orbit was pretty much exactly what I wanted. Let's speed up here. Slow down. Speed up. And boom. Okay, it's a little off. In fact, we barely made it. Yikes. Interesting. 303. Why don't I try a slightly higher? Let's do like 350 by 350. Hopefully we have enough juice to get that high. Let's see. Turn this thing off. Yeah, just watch. Watch, look at the FPS. 35? Watch this. Boom. 106. I mean, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I do not understand it. I don't even know if it's FAR's fault. I mean, obviously it has something to do with FAR, but it could be some other mod interaction. I don't know what's going on. Like I said, I made a GitHub report, so maybe someday it'll be solved. But for now, it's just an annoying thing I have to do on every single launch, always. Okay, so... It seems to think it has excess delta V, so we should be okay getting into the 350 by 350 orbit. Yeah, I'm curious what changing the early shutoff stage to this one does. Because it seems like they're still using all of the delta V from it. Huh. Or maybe it didn't. I don't know, I need to pay closer attention at the end there. And then final stage. Perfect. And we're looking for 350 by 350. Let's see how close we get. Okay, that's not bad. 322 by 365. Cool. And... stable orbit for 2 minutes. Let's just make sure it does complete that contract. All right, sounds good to me. And let's find out, is there a poles biome? Forest, taiga, water, shores, tundra. I'm guessing tundra wasn't on the list, but poles might not be. Yeah, I guess it's just tundra. Go over. Is Antarctica a biome? Ice caps. It is. Sweet. Okay, so I did the right thing by bringing the camera, because we'll get some more data from that. Wonderful. Okay. Well, we're good to go here. All we got to do is launch it. Cancel integration. All we got to do is tool our tanks. And then launch it. 58 days for actually integrating it. And then go ahead and warp here. Our money looking? Rep is decent, science is good, money's good. I'm feeling pretty good about this. We were super worried about being able to complete the satellites, but I think we're gonna complete it with at least half a year left. It's a little tight. But, you know, if it's planned out properly, it's perfect, because then you get more of the money out of it, you know? So I'll just say that was my plan the whole time. How's that? Alright, fire ant, sun sink. By the way, 60 days, how much rep is that losing me? I didn't think about that part. I'm losing 121 a year. So I'm losing about 20 rep. Maybe 25 for this whole process. So even though it's going to gain me 76, you know, about a third of that is lost to the time it takes to do this mission. Alright, so we want to warp to noon specifically. So let's warp to sunrise. And then we want to warp to... Why does this say 12:45? That's so unhelpful. What? That's not the actual time. I guess I'll just look to the south and kind of wait till the sun is halfway across the sky. By watching the reflection in the water. So right about now. Yeah, I think that's about right. All right. Fire Ant 5, here we go. Go ahead and quick save. Yeah, the shadow's not quite pointing straight north, but it's close enough. Go ahead and fix that. Fire up our ascent guidance. PVG settings. Early shut-off stage 4. Unguided stages 0 and 2. I wish it would remember these. It seems to remember the pitch, start, and rate, but it doesn't seem to remember these. 350 by 350 seemed to work fine. Engage autopilot. 97 orbit inclination. And we did engage autopilot, so we will launch in 3, 2, 1. Take a photo first. And 0. Beautiful. She's away. Alright. Hyperwarp a little bit here just to get through stage 1. I know, I understand why it counts down with stages, but I always feel like in my brain, this is stage 1 because it's the first thing you do, but it's really stage 7. So I always feel like I'm going back and forth in my head. Is this stage 1 or is this stage 7? You know, and is this final one, is that stage 1 or is that stage 7 up there? Really stage 4, because I have 4 actual, you know, burning stages. By the way, it's really interesting, the ascent settings, I have it set to 55 kilometers, but it seems to pop at exactly 60 kilometers. So it's like it's adding 5 to this number for some reason. And I noticed that when I had this set at 60, it seemed to pop at 65. So I don't know what's up with that. Obviously, I set these numbers to be so big that this is really what's controlling it. So I don't know about that part, but... yeah, I think we are going to be good here. Just want to make sure that's running. The television camera is running. Space low, it was trying to get data from in space. Or, sorry, flying high is what it wanted data from. Alright, let's hyperwarp a bit. And here we go. Moment of truth. Are we going to get activations on our engines? Still about a 6% chance of failure on this mission. Perfect. Perfect. Alright, I'm going to hyperwarp a little bit here. And then stop for the last stage, which did not fail. Wonderful. And let's see if we get our orbit. Uh-oh, it did fail. No! Ah, crap. We rolled the 1 out of 20. Well, nothing we can do about that. It's just a failed mission. Back to the Space Center. Damn. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording, and I'll come back when we've got our next Fire Ant 5 ready to go. Okay, we are back. I added some more research because we actually finished the ones we had queued up. So we added basic avionics and probes, which gives us another science core upgrade and a near Earth upgrade, which is pretty big. Being able to reduce the mass on those is helpful. And I also queued up primitive solar panels. So I'm hoping that this launch goes well, because if it doesn't, we're kind of screwed. I don't really know if we have time. Like, we're only... I mean, I guess we have time for a third attempt if this one doesn't work, but this is kind of our last-ditch effort. At some point, like, if this one fails, I don't think it would be worth the money total, you know, at the end of it. But sunk cost fallacy and all, we should probably just keep trying, right? Try. All right. Shut off 4, unguided, 0,2. Perry, Apo, 97, engage. Go ahead and hit spacebar. 3, 2, 1. Lift off. Come on, man. Cover vessel. Oh, I get it. Last time I tried this, I didn't stay in the flight scene. That's what happened. Okay, now I have to warp to noon again, though. Come on, there we go. Alright, wait until our shadow is just about north. There we go. Alright, I'm gonna quick save. Third tries the charm? Uh-oh, is the autopilot gonna be jacked up? I'm gonna restart it. Okay. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, well that, it wasn't right. Here's our autosave. I think it messed up the staging somehow. I think spacebar still thought the next one is the... I wonder if reloading into the flight scene will fix it. 3, 2, 1. Nope. It is still staging. Ugh. How do I fix this? Maybe instead of staging the engine, I activate it in the right-click menu? not sure, actually, how to fix this issue. Okay, engage. This stupid debug thing is continuing to be annoying. All right, what if I just activate engine from in here? That doesn't work either. How do I fix this without rolling the flight back? Maybe I roll it back for 2 minutes and then roll it out for 2 minutes. Maybe I reorder the staging and then it'll wake up and figure itself out. And then we engage that. Let's try that. 3, 2, 1. Nope, it seems dedicated. This is really annoying. What if I revert to launch? It does just say 20 seconds ago. Rather than, you know, the 1 day ago that we started this whole process. So maybe that'll fix it. Maybe it'll actually do stage 8 instead of stage 7 now. I'm curious what combination of things I need to do to make this work. All right, 3, 2, 1. Nope, it's definitely double staging. Okay, my strategy. I don't know what my strategy is. How do I do this? Maybe I can engage the autopilot, activate the engine, and then stage that myself. Maybe that combination will get us going here. And the autopilot will still work. I'm not totally certain. Alright. I think it's pitching over properly. It might not be. It might be broken. Can't tell. Feels like it's at too high of an angle. Sometimes it acts like it's working, but it doesn't actually change the pitch, and it just keeps. Yeah, I think we're busted here. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Might just be okay. I can't believe an Aerobee failed with our... We have the full 10,000 data units and we still got a failure. Alright. So... hyperwarp a bit here. Please don't fail, please don't fail, please don't fail, please don't fail. So far so good. A little wobbly, which could mess with our final... Actually quite wobbly. Could mess with our orbit. If our orbit's at 299, I'm gonna table flip. Oh, thank God. Okay. It worked. And yeah, the sun is to the south, which is getting me some amount of power. What is our electric charge at? Seems like we're good to go. All right. So it only took 2.5 launches of the Fire Ant 5. And we are good to go. Sweet. Well, what a successful set of missions. The Fire Ant 3 and 4. Well, I guess successful eventually. So that didn't really change our reputation that much. But the good news is we got more. I don't know. I guess we got more money from going further in this. I think it's time to complete the program. Although I don't need to. I only need to complete the program if I need slots. I guess at some point I should take X-Plane research. That does give me 14 years to finish this. Huh. And early lunar probes is some fat money. Definitely, I might just take it slow. I might do normal speed on this. Program will require lunar range communications at a minimum. Will generally require upgrading mission control in the tracking station to allow us to get maneuver nodes. Basic avionics and probes unlocks deep space avionics, which will be essential if you need guided avionics at the moon. Interesting. Okay. Now, does this mess with anything else? No, I think we can just take it. Alright. And we might as well get the funding out of this one for the next half a year. I just have to remember to cancel it. Deadline is 19 September 57, so we need to add an alarm. Add new alarm. Date. Oh, that's confusing. Oh, okay. I don't know how many days. Why? This is not how a date works. That's not a date. This is... let me pick a date on a calendar. There's... Wait, no, that's not a calendar either. I'm so confused. Time interval. Date. But it's doing 72 days instead of, like, months. Oh, that's very confusing. So I'll just have to kind of guess and check, because we want September of 57. So if I just add, well, let's try 300 days. How about 330? Oh no, we're too far. How about 280? 260. There we go. Alright. Name alarm. Finish program. Add alarm. Okay. So now that's in there. That is weird, you can't just select a date. There's a toggle calendar button, but it doesn't seem to do that much. Settings? Maybe in the settings we can... Earth calendar. Interesting. I don't totally know what all those do. But let's look at our contracts. So I guess we've still got the downrange milestone available in this early light satellites. This might be worth doing. Because I do still have half a year. And we need the reputation. So yeah, let's do a 6,000 downrange. We should be able to modify this guy. A couple changes and it should be able to make it easy. So I'll do that real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I've only modified a couple things. We made the fairings less dense here and here. And this was, what was it called? An aluminum fuselage tank, and I've just changed it to an aluminum stringer tank. And that's gonna give us a lighter dry mass, and then I actually had to take some fuel out of it because, so it's underfueled, and that's so that, by the way, I need to disable fuel pump here. And that's so that it would give us more delta V. So we've got 7184. And in our old long downrange LV, we had 7027. We might need a little bit more now that I'm thinking about it. Which I think we could pretty easily get from, I mean, a couple things. Are these? They're not even the AJ10s. Does that improve my delta V? No, the mass is actually greater. And the vacuum delta V, or ISP, is worse. So that only helps if I do something else. So probably the easier change is here we change to an HP stringer. And then do that. Actually, this stage, hold on, no, undo that. This stage is not providing that much delta V. So changing this last stage, ooh, you know what? Oh, I have a better idea. I know what'll help me the most. Because this last stage has 20 kilograms in the avionics. So what if I change this to early avionics? Boom, extra 200 delta V right there. And then we don't have to tool anything extra, so the tooling cost is basically nothing. So yeah, let's simulate this bad boy and see if it works. I'm trying to remember how we staged these. I think it was pretty much just the classic ascent profile. Let's just see if I switch over. And we go to orbit altitude. Oh, shoot. All these numbers are messed up now. Maybe not. Yeah, let's lower that to 40 and see what happens. Alright. Turn this off. Now let's see how you do. Oh, let's fix the inclination. It's still 97 degrees. That's not what we want. Current inclination, thank you very much. Debug disabled. I'm wondering if I can, I might make an auto hotkey script for that. I'm not even joking. Because I think it pops up in the same location every time. I didn't remember to hit engage autopilot. If it pops up in the same place every time, I think writing an auto hotkey script could be the real trick. Okay. Let's try this again. I supposed to be spinning? I think I'm supposed to be spinning. Yeah, that was my spin. Spin time. We might have enough spin to get us there. Got a little bit of a wobble. Okay. And then we need, what's it called? Flight report? No. Ascent stats. It's over here. Downrange distance. Get to... What was our path, by the way? Like, oh yeah, we went way too high. Okay, we need a lower angle for sure. But even that being said, we still made it to 5.1, and we only need to make it to 6. So I think that's an easy fix. We just lower our angle a bit, and I think that's it. Edit ascent path. Let's lower that down to 30. Engage autopilot. Turn off the FAR debug. Hit launch. Hyperwarp. And we gotta spin up at the end of this stage. Okay. And we're off. I just realized these boosters are doing nothing. Those are staged incorrectly. That's hilarious. That's doing absolutely nothing. Just adding dead weight is all that's doing. What's our angle at? About 30 degrees. That looks a lot better, the curvature of the Earth, taking a bit better advantage of it. This gets us to downrange distance. What? That's not even better? Interesting. Well, I would have thought that did it. Didn't even get us any more than last time. Okay, I'm gonna keep experimenting with a couple things, and I'll be back. Okay, we're back. So what I did is I actually changed these tanks to HP aluminum stringer tanks instead of HP aluminum fuselage tanks. These two, that is. And then I also switched the engine here to the AJ-10 because it has a longer runtime and more thrust, which allowed for this second stage to have more total, thrust power. And we actually ended up shortening this one a little bit because it was more efficient for Delta V. Now, why is my Delta V just draining away right now? Liquid oxygen is disappearing. Oh. Do these have boil off? Oh, no, well, wait, no, I'm actually kind of confused now. Yeah, there is some amount of boil off for liquid oxygen. Interesting. Okay, so we can't just sit around forever on the launch pad because we were burning Delta V, but I don't want to fill it all the way up because that's too long of a burn time. Oh, we lose quite a bit. Oh no. Engage autopilot and go. Interesting. I didn't realize that we had to worry about boil off on the launch pad. I guess you normally have the fuel clamps on, but does it stop boiling off once you're in the air? I haven't noticed this particularity before. It could just be with... I don't know, actually. we still need to spin stabilize though here. Last couple seconds. Alright. This should get us there. All the extra delta V in this stage. Oh, and I took out the little boosters because they weren't doing anything. So I think we will be fine. Let's check our trajectory. Oh, stack overflow. I'll pause the recording. Game crashed. Okay, I'm back. I don't know what that game crash was about. Probably the FAR issue or something. My log file was over 500 megabytes. It's kind of ridiculous, and there are about 1 billion null exceptions from FAR. So I don't know what's going on, but it's not good. Anyway, yeah, so let's see if this thing makes it to 6,000 kilometers downrange. Based on the picture, I think we might just make it, and I can do a lower angle as well. But I think this is gonna make it. At apoapsis, yeah, I mean, this is easy. Easily made it. Made it to 7. Okay. All right, so let's go revert to VAB. Because we changed the tank styles, we are gonna have to spend a little bit on tooling. Though, excuse me, is it even worth it? So we'd pay $2 grand to do the tooling, and we would save $1 grand. So that's not actually worth it, is it? Huh. Well, but then I have those things tooled for the future. So let's just do it. And then we'll go ahead and launch. Uh-oh. Gotta modify the launch complex, huh? It's gonna take 2 days, 100 units of monies. Okay. That's okay. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and get to that. Well, no, this is probably just a good place to end the episode. I think we'll get that modified and we'll add it to our, ooh, there it is. Earth space low ice caps and taiga transmitted. Beautiful. Science continues to pour in from our satellites. All right, V2 complex, finish up. And then we'll go ahead and produce, start integrating our long downrange 4. Okay. And that should do it. And that's going to take 40 days to build. We've still got plenty of time on this contract. And then, yeah, so these are the contracts we're going to be doing in the coming episodes. We need a lunar flyby, send a craft on a flyby of the moon and receive data. And then a first lunar impactor. So we have to impact the moon. That's going to be fun. Cool. And how much money are we making right now? It's got to be huge because, yeah, we're getting two program incomes. So that's pretty awesome. I am going to need to do some science, I think. I was kind of assuming there would be another, like, science satellite. Yeah, this one. Okay, once I finish this, we'll get a bunch more science-y contracts. Okay. So we'll finish out the early satellites after we get this long downrange. But yeah, we'll do that in the coming episodes. So we'll stop here. As always, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next one.